Hi, and welcome to another episode of Siren Stories, the podcast, with me, JJ Barnes, and him, Jonathan McKinney.
Hello.
We are talking about episode 3 of Loki, which we just watched now. It's Wednesday. It came out this morning. We've watched it. We are recording.
We are.
If you are new to our podcast, it's a bit odd that you're joining us on episode 3. Like, go back and listen to 1 and 2. But just in case, I'll give you a quick little rundown of what we're going to do. So we do a little plot summary of the episode. We talk about what happens. Then we do what we liked. Then we do what we didn't like. And then we do thoughts and theories of what's to come. I always say this, but I'll say it again. We sometimes get those boundaries a bit blurred, I'd say. We kind of mix them all up a little bit. But we do try and vaguely stick to our little planned layout.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I will start this by saying I have many questions about this episode.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where I should put them.
We can do the rundown, but because this podcast, we are literally moments after watching the episode.
Yeah, we haven't...
We could just sort of jump around.
Jump around.
Thank you. Jump up, jump and get down.
Exactly.
90s children. So.
90s children.
So, yeah, like, there's not a lot to say, really. Loki and Sylvie are trapped on a planet, a moon that's going to blow up, and they have to get off.
No, it's not going to blow up. It's going to be crashed into by another planet.
Sure, but I think when it is crashed into by another
then
planet,
it will blow up.
Fair enough. And at that point, they will perish along with everybody else, so they drastically need to get off.
So yeah, Loki used the tempad to send them to an apocalypse that she said he chose the most dangerous one.
Yeah. In terms of plot, that's it.
Yeah,
right?
Basically, yeah. The tempad is out of battery, so they have to find a power source. They go looking for a power source. They get on a train designed to take residents to an ark.
An ark, a ship.
Yeah, but they get thrown off it because Loki gets drunk.
That's simplification, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is.
Yeah, it's a massive simplification. Yeah. Yeah, they get thrown off the train as Loki gets drunk. In the throwing off of the Loki, the tempad then gets smashed, so they decide to go and try and hijack the Ark to try and make sure it gets off the planet, because in the original scenario, nobody survives. The Ark gets blown up, but they say if they can get on the Ark, they might be able to save it. So they run to the place that the Ark is docked, and the meteors start coming. They try to get to the Ark, they try to get on it, but then the Ark gets blown up.
Right, that's the plot.
Yeah.
I think that the rest of this episode is about the character of Loki coming through in some very joyful ways. And
the truth about the TVA agents.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, these are all sort of questions and answer situations, right? So should we just get straight into your questions? Okay,
yes, because I agree. The plot is very, very simple. It's about the actual people rather than the story, I'd say. My first question is this, right?
Yes.
If Sylvie is a Loki, right, that means that there are multiple variant Lokis. They have not kept the true timeline. Because if Loki, that they, this Loki who's come off is a variant of the course, right? So that Loki can go and do his thing and get killed by Thanos, etc., right? They've stopped this Loki and would have pruned him.
Or her.
At what point did the Sylvie Loki, this is generations back, a variant timeline path? Because otherwise, she'd have been pruned. As a, if a girl Loki was born, they'd have just reset the timeline. How the hell is that? It's not like she's just, Loki came off his path for a moment and was zapped away from the desert. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A moment. Well, so how is that? How are they coexisting?
Number one, clearly, this variant, if she is Loki, formally, then she is not from the, what do we call it? Sacred timeline?
Exactly, but that means there are multiple
because the
timelines.
Loki we know is from the sacred timeline.
But that's my point. There has to be multiple timelines. They haven't got rid of all alternatives. They haven't, because otherwise this Loki, Sylvie, would never have come about because they'd kept the true timeline where this Loki is created. So there has to be multiple multiple timelines. We're going back generations and generations. Okay. This Loki, Sylvie, could have been born.
I mean, I don't think of this Loki, Sylvie, as being born like Sylvie. It depends who Sylvie is, right? So, first of all, we talked about last week how the character Sylvie from the comic book, who is
a child,
not a variant of Loki,
yeah,
but is sort of created by him, while he is Lady Loki, right? Because that's another thing. So that's what everybody else assumed she was,
Lady Loki.
Lady Loki. I wonder if they've just kind of sort of crammed Lady Loki, the character from the comics, and Sylvie, the character from the comics, into one character.
So, okay, is Lady Loki like Loki in drag? Is that Loki pretending to be a woman? Like an illusion he creates to be a woman?
As a woman, yeah.
But like, the Loki we know, is he always a woman, and so he's female Loki, or is it an illusion he is casting and living as a woman temporarily in disguise?
It's the latter.
So it's a disguise Loki.
Well, is it a disguise or is it just?
But I mean, like, he doesn't make himself look like Tom Hiddleston. He creates a woman form.
Yeah.
But he was. I mean, like, is it an entirely separate person who happens to be a female version of Loki, like a timeline?
I honestly don't know where the origin is. That'd be something I can find out.
Because I'd be curious. Because if there's just because I know they do multiple timeline, like, you know, multiple universes in the comics. I'm curious if Lady Loki is just Loki, but in this timeline it was female born.
Yeah.
Like, and Thor grew up with a sister.
I don't think so, but I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I'd be interested.
The way she talks about it, if it is that she's sort of Lady Loki from the comics and Sylvie from the comics combined into one character, it's the way she describes it as, I don't go by that name anymore. It implies that she used to be like Tom Hiddleston, and now that person chose to be like this instead.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, she had an entirely different upbringing.
Well, she doesn't remember it.
Yeah, true, but she says, like, her mother is just, like, patchy memory. Like, I feel like at some point, multiple timelines... Because, right, here's the other reason I think that there are multiple timelines existing. It's not just the sacred timeline. Because I was thinking about this. If Sylvie is a Loki, we saw, right, in all the variants of Loki that when...
Did it look like Tom Hiddleston? Yeah,
but some of them didn't. When Mobius showed the Loki variants, there was like a giant big yellow one.
There was like a
hulky one.
Yeah, like an ogre-y type.
Which
version.
means either Loki was born yellow and hulky and allowed to grow up to the point of being the Loki variant they stopped. Which means there is a multiple timeline where that Loki became a variant like this Loki and was pruned.
I think that, I mean, in my opinion, if you're born as somebody else, like, you're not the same person. Like, you know, he talks about having like an aura, essentially. For me, all of these variants of Loki must have been from the whatever timeline where Loki was born, because otherwise they might be called Loki, but they're not Loki.
But how? Because if the sacred timeline is the sacred timeline,
I don't know.
My point is, there wouldn't be a giant hulking yellow Loki in the sacred timeline.
Well, you say that, but if you were looking at a timeline where the only Bruce Banner you knew was, you know, pale-skinned human Bruce Banner,
yeah, but
and then you looked at an alternate timeline where there's a Hulk who looks like him but is green and massive, then do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah, but they haven't.
You'd think they couldn't be the same person.
Yeah, but we've seen Loki's entire life. At no point on the sacred timeline, at no point does Loki become a giant hulking yellow monster. He gets killed by Thanos. It depends
what happens to create the variant thing. Like, if Loki took a equivalent version of whatever Banner took,
and became giant hulking yellow, and that's why that was the variant. Yeah, I get you.
I mean, that could be the explanation. I mean, to me, I think it's pretty much confirmed that there isn't just one timeline.
I think there can't be just one timeline. Otherwise, Lady Loki, Sylvie Loki,
sure,
wouldn't have this entire life.
Unless Loki from our timeline became a variant, went through all the same shit that this Loki's gone through this time, escaped, hid in apocalypses, just like Loki figured out how to do from this timeline, spent 100 years or hundreds of years making her plan, or his plan, then her plan to destroy the TVA, because the TVA, you know,
So you think maybe
this could be our Loki in the future anyway. Like,
I like
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, Sylvie
I do.
could be
So
the sacred timeline Loki, just in a few more hundred years after he's sort of grown and changed and evolved into this person,
and taught himself how to do the enchantment magic because he didn't know how she does it, and she's like, "This is how I do it," and he's learned how to do it because she taught herself.
She taught herself, which might mean she teaches him. And this is how, like, you know what I mean?
Interesting.
Because if they are the same person, then, you know, if she is our Loki from the very, very distant future, who's been doing this since
living
now,
in disguise, adopted Sylvie because comfortable in that. He says he's bisexual.
Yes.
Right. So he's got availability to be fluid in his attractions.
Yes.
So maybe
So probably not sort of wedded, and he's not a person whose sort of identity is how he looks.
Yeah.
Because although he is in a way, because he always kind of, that's his default.
Yeah, but he changes
But he changes a lot. So, I mean, it's possible that that's what that is. Or it's possible that Sylvie is someone he created, or someone who was born and then he gave the memories of and the powers of an Asgardian. Like, we don't know yet.
I really like your theory, though.
That
although
she is our Loki from the future from this
it would
timeline.
then mean... I mean, we know our Loki isn't going back to the sacred timeline because he's not. Like...
No, but not going back from this timeline, essentially, because this is not the Loki from the sacred timeline anymore. The sacred timeline Loki, around about where this Loki is in his life, is in a prison on Asgard, having been beaten by the Avengers and taken back to Asgard by Thor, with his handcuffs on, and at the end of Avengers. That's timeline-wise, because this is probably about a couple of weeks after he loses in Avengers. So he's been taken back to Asgard. Yeah.
Loki, I mean, I know it's not 2012, like it's 2077,
so
but I mean, like, it's
indeed,
in Loki's age.
Sylvie may well not be from the sacred timeline, but that doesn't mean that she's not the Loki we're watching in this TV show, because neither's he.
Yeah, that's really interesting. God, this time travel stuff is a mindfuck, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
That's a really interesting theory. I really like that. And it's early, because I actually thought some theories at the end, but I still love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the possible explanations. Like, there is still entirely possible that the TVA is full of shit and that there's no
space lizards. I'm sticking to that theory. I'm sticking to the theory that there's no space lizards.
Right.
Because she says, like, she went back in the mind of that soldier lady to when she was a human, and before she went to work, and he's like, they don't know. They think they were created.
Right.
Which means there are no space lizards creating TVA agents. The judges are abducting variants.
Here's a fun theory. I'm sure it isn't true.
All right.
And we could probably pull it apart if we just look at things people have said and done.
No, carry on.
Right. Suppose the TVA is the construction of Loki, right? Lots of different hymns at different times, hymns and hers now, at different times.
So Mobius is a Loki?
No. Mobius is a guy who was probably around in the 90s and liked to jet ski, and had his memories blogged because, Loki learns how to enchant, and it's all just a scheme to break him out when he gets captured by Tony Stark and the Avengers at the end of Avengers.
Oh, so Loki is the space lizard?
Yes. And it's all just a way of him escaping and giving himself power he wants.
I really like that.
Now, you could probably...
because she says a plan has multiple steps, like you just did a thing.
Yeah.
That is a multiple step plan if it's designed to free Loki on the sacred timeline.
The question is, how does he come up with that plan? Because you can't, there's a bit of a kind of the snake eating itself there, because
there is.
You can't, like...
He wouldn't have come up with it if he hadn't known the TVA.
If it hadn't happened to him. Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe, I mean, it's like I say, it's not a great idea, but I like the idea that the show that's called Loki is about Loki escaping and freeing himself from, consequences he wants to avoid, and...
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. That's really good theory. I like that, John.
Well, it's probably not true, but it's quite fun to think about.
Yeah.
If the judge is Mobius, if the judge is
a Loki.
Yeah, although the judge has a name of a character from the comics, the Ravonna Renslayer.
Yeah.
So maybe not, but if that is Loki, and the because Mobius was saying like, oh, what other analyst is giving you stuff from the various worlds that we prune.
Yeah.
If that could be another Loki, they could just all be Loki, like lots of Lokis running about, and people he's just stolen from timelines to work in his place, and then wipe their memory so they don't remember.
It's fun theory.
It's a fun theory. It's probably not true. But then the problem with this episode, not necessarily the problem, but one of the problems I had with this episode is that it kind of stopped all of the dramatic tension that had been building, and replaced it with nothing except
adventure.
Getting off the planet or the
Definite
moon.
side adventure.
And now I don't even really know what I'm rooting for.
Yeah.
What I'm.
You know what? If we're doing what we didn't like, I agree. I was a bit like, I feel like, right, good episode in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like genuinely very good episode.
Good laughs.
Yeah, funny. I liked getting to know Loki. But what I was invested in was watching Loki and Mobius and the tracking of the variant and the Loki and his learning about the TVA. I liked seeing the TVA. I feel like this was high budget episode.
Sure, yeah.
Really high budget episode. Good character work. But I was like, I don't really care that much about this planet and these people who are all going to die anyway.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? Is it feels...
That sounds brutal and merciless, isn't it? I don't care about these people who are going to die.
Well, no, but you can't. I mean, narratively, you don't, because we haven't been introduced to them, and we don't know what they work for, what they're hoping for, or anything that would make us care about them as characters. Not like abstract concern for theoretical people who are about to die, but characters that you invest in. You can't invest in any of these characters because they're not characters, really. They're just obstacles.
Yeah, exactly. You don't actually spend any time with any of them.
No, and that's not a criticism, because the characters that are being focused on are Loki.
I thought the Loki character work was wonderful.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't even know if I'm criticising really, but it does feel to me like the section within Thor Ragnarok where they go to the junkie planet.
Yeah.
Not junkie like drug using.
No,
but
junk.
The junk planet, because it's all very interesting in the first sort of act. I use speech marks for Thor Ragnarok before Thor ends up on that planet.
Yeah.
Then it's sort of like, well, we just wait for him to get off and have a bit of a laugh while we're there. And it is a bit of a laugh because it's Taika Waititi. Just like this is a bit of a laugh because it's Hiddleston and whoever the writers and the director is, who are doing a good job making it funny.
He is funny.
He is funny. Yeah.
You know what I really like, and it's an odd one, but his physicality when he's performing as Loki is so very specific.
Yes.
And I've seen him in different things.
Yeah, in Kong Skull Island, he's like an action hero.
Yeah. In this, it's like, if Loki goes down, the way he stands up again, it's sort of like his body... There's
10% pretentious.
Yeah.
In his movement.
Yeah, exactly. But he stands...
There's a bit of a hair flick.
There's a definite hair flick.
Not full teenager.
No, it's not.
Just a little bit.
But as I say, if he bends down, if he gets hit, the way he stands up, it's like his back is completely rigid. He doesn't sort of stand up like his back curves and lifts him. He stands up with a flip. Like his back stays stiff and he flips up again.
And it throws his hair back.
Yeah. And just very... And I've seen, as I say, you're right, in Skull Island, he's not back... He's
muscly, he's got a brawler's...
Yeah, exactly. He's not flipping upright if he gets hit in the stomach. He's sort of coiling and getting ready to hit again.
You're right. In Loki, he's quite sort of...
robotic almost.
I don't want to use the word because I don't want to sound like I'm being trendy, but in his movement there's fluidity.
Oh yeah, 100%. But it's robotic in a way that he'll be suddenly very stiff, flip. When he was pretending to be the security guard and he was moving it onto the train, and he was
hilarious.
Hilarious.
He did look like he'd been wound up.
Yeah, exactly. He will go very stiff, very robotic, very flip, straight up with. He doesn't move like a boxer. In Skull Island, he moves like a boxer. He's got a sort of he will hunch and
Mm-hmm.
be protective of his. You know, he. Do you understand what I mean? Like he's curved. He moves more like ready. In this, he's like flip upright, flip this way, flip back. His movements are. Yeah, but then you're right. He's very fluid in the sense. Sometimes he's like when he's doing the dancing and the singing.
Yeah.
He's very soft in his movements. He's very feminine in a lot of the ways he like if you look at it as stereotypes.
Sure, yeah.
Like traditionally feminine, he'll be quite sort of.
But yeah, we're not like limp.
No,
I'm
not saying. I'm not saying he's doing like an imitation of being feminine. He doesn't move like a macho man. Which I know I'm using stereotypes, but he doesn't move like a macho man.
The thing is that the words "move like a macho man" they mean something when you hear them.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you can visualize what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I just think he's such a brilliant performer because when he's Loki, he's Loki. He's not anyone else. Like you're not gonna be like, oh, that could be any of the Hiddleston characters. Everything about the way he moves and speaks is pure Loki. It's just brilliant.
Yeah. So to come back around to the problem.
Sorry.
That's fine, honestly, because that's the kind of conversation we're having. This is a show about timelines and people traveling around in time. So we're going to jump around too.
That's a good point.
In episode 1, you've got the TVA are they're more powerful than Thanos. They've got Infinity Stones in the drawer and they use them as paperweights and they roll dice with them and blah blah blah. In episode 2, did I say episode 2? I meant episode 1. Episode 2, we start pursuing the variant more aggressively, who's killing the Minutemen and whatnot. And in this one, I was glad when the episode last week moved into a unexpected territory, which is Loki escaping with the variant, and then we're going to see what happens next.
Yeah.
This one, I'm glad that the variant still wants to. Sylvie, we can call her Sylvie, still wants to go back and finish her mission. Because there's peril there for people we've been introduced to. Mobius, for example, I don't want him to get destroyed by Sylvie.
Yeah.
I want him to jet ski.
I want him to jet ski. In this episode, I missed the dynamic between Loki and Mobius.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed that. I liked very much the dynamic between him and Sylvie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed their way.
Yeah, but for me, they've called the character Sylvie. She's a character from the comics. They know that people are anticipating Lady Loki more than I did because I saw on Twitter and on another podcast that's what a lot of people are expecting. So when I say, oh, maybe they're smushing the two together, that's what I mean. I'm not being like a clever person. I'm saying that seems like what they've done.
Yeah.
But the problem is I don't know what Sylvie is. She's being presented as a former, a variant who used to be Loki. She says, I don't go by that name anymore. Or I don't like to be called that anymore.
Yeah.
But the fact that she acknowledges that she was ever called Loki, you kind of have to trust that she's got the aura that made the Minutemen think that she's Loki, that she is a variant of Loki. Which means to me, for the only way for that to make sense, because of my own understanding of human identity or Asgardian identity or whatever, any creature that has what most cultures would consider to be a soul, to quote the first episode, right, is you're born. Then things can change, right, about who you are. Then who you become depends on what happens to you in your life, how you are treated. I mean, there's still that same DNA that sort of works away at chiseling you into the person you're always going to be.
Yeah.
But you could be lots of different people depending on the things that happen.
Yeah, like our kids, when they were born and they were babies, they were them, they had their DNA, they had their genetic makeup, their chromosomes, all of that. That kid existed.
Yeah.
But they have been, even in their 8 and 4 years, have been shaped by their life. That's only in a few years.
Yeah. And you take Loki, for example. He was born as a blue little baby.
Yeah.
Not a pale-skinned, Caucasian-looking man like Thor or Odin or his mother, Frigga. That just sounds rude when I hear it.
It does.
So, which is fine. So he has already transitioned from one form, one true form, to another.
Yeah, he didn't grow up looking like a frost giant.
No, that's sort of magic, and I assume magic that his mother performed to allow him to fit in.
Yeah.
And then that he maintains now that she's dead, he could be a blue frost giant. He should be. Because everybody else was. There was no one who looks like Loki on that frost giant
planet. Were all blue frost giants.
They were all blue frost giant people. So he's already sort of adopted a new form, a new physical form, which he feels he fits in better than, a blue frost giant. And, so to me, this character, if Sylvie is a variant of Loki, then she was once that little blue frost giant boy.
And it was just
raised by Frigga and Odin, and then deviated from the same path that Loki that we know was on. The one we know ultimately the one we know is the one who got killed by Thanos in Infinity War. This is a new one. We know him up to a point, but we're learning about him, who he's going to be. Yeah,
because he's already a different person to who the one we know from Infinity War is, because he's had different experiences.
Well, he's been rushed through a lot of sort of breakthroughs about himself by Mobius in order to get him to help Mobius. Like, that took years for Sacred Timeline Loki to get through, because he was still trying to betray Thor in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, he was.
Whereas he's got a way more sort of lovable energy to him now.
Yeah, I agree. He's a much more likable person, and he's he wants to be able to trust other people, and he wants them to trust him.
Yeah, and he's still himself, but he's like a truce. He's the first one to say a truce.
Yeah, exactly. And he says, "Can I trust you?" Yeah. Like, he opens up to her and expects her to open up back so that they can understand each other. Like, that is a maturity that...
Yeah, and also, I think, crucially, he's been massively humbled, and he was never quite as humbled by... he could never be humbled by Thor and Odin because he felt superior to them. Whereas Mobius, he's like, you are smart. And he's like, in the first episode, I think it is, he's like, big metaphor guy. I love that. It makes you seem super smart. He's like, well, I am smart. He goes, I know.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't feel superior to Mobius.
Yeah.
Whereas I think he does to Thor, because Thor, God bless him, is a bit of a trusting fool.
Yeah, he's not a...
Well, Mobius isn't. When he tries to pull the same shit with Mobius
isn't full for
Mobius
it.
Listens, he's like, you almost had me for a minute there. And then he's like cross with him for trying to betray him. He's like, Mobius is a better big brother for Loki
I
than
agree.
Thor is.
Thor, he is a smart guy in many ways, but he's also a big dumb barrel of sort of impulses.
Yeah, he's very pure.
Yeah, whereas... Loki is calculating and thinking all the time. His brain is going. I don't think Loki would have ended up getting drunk and playing PlayStation games with his alien mates in New Asgard.
And having a go at the kid on the...
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Loki would have done, because he'd have been all the time thinking how to make the best of the situation, and that's not the best. Whereas Thor's just like,
Well, he lost everything, didn't he?
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think Loki losing everything would do the same thing.
No, well, Loki losing everything becomes this, because
exactly
he sort of has.
Yeah, but I think he would be calculating how to get the best life out of it.
Yeah.
Whereas Thor is just a bit sort of...
He's a bit Celtic.
Yeah.
Is that fair? I'm Celtic, so I'm allowed to say that.
It reminds me of you, yeah.
Thor reminds you of me?
Yeah.
When
everything is going terrible, you're like, let's just get drunk and play PlayStation all day, because I can't cope with my life. So yeah, I agree.
And, put on a bit of weight. So, fun thing, we've got to talk about it at least once is, and we've laughed about it already, but another!
Oh my gosh, that did fill me with joy. Because we're talking about how Loki and Thor are very different as brothers. They're very different people, but
they are of the same
place.
Yeah,
that is a connect. And we've never seen Loki drinking and socializing.
Yeah,
and then he's being very like Thor. He's got them all singing and dancing and and then he's like, another. But I like it when the waitress comes around and she's like, champagne, and Sylvie's like, not for me, and he's like, I'll just have that. He's like, clink.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, that's really. I'm like, that is. I felt a very deep understanding of Loki watching those scenes where he's drinking and making a fool of himself, and I'm like, yay, Loki, you're one of my people.
Shall we have another
smash?
Shall we?
Yeah. We got another.
We got another.
Yeah.
And
Now we'll continue.
Now we'll continue. So yeah, I like that the brothers Thor and Loki share a behaviour.
And it comes from being a prince. They're entitled. They get to
they
just
are
slam.
entitled.
Yeah.
But it's also in a kind of heavy-handed way.
Yeah.
A very sort of warm show of respect. And the fact that it's like, I'm having a great time.
Yeah,
Such a great time. I don't
agree.
need this anymore because it's empty. I want another.
Yeah,
Another.
exactly. I have been raised in an environment where I can just smash something and demand another and get it. But also, I'm encouraged to enjoy myself. Like, I enjoy drinking and eating and socialising and parties because that is how I was brought up. And I'm having a good time.
It is very princely. And yeah, whereas Thor is sort of chastised by Natalie Portman, and then he's like, I meant no disrespect.
Yeah.
Loki doesn't get that.
Yeah.
He's just sort of indulged a little bit, and then something goes wrong for a different reason.
Yeah. But it's very funny. I really enjoyed that.
But with regard to the character of Loki, okay, so yeah, he's bisexual, he's learning to trust, right? Yeah. That's a new thing for him.
We've never had any inclination about either his sexuality or his desire to connect with a person.
No, exactly. Like he has been kind of an asexual entity up until this moment.
But now
even now it's only him saying it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're supposed to see that there's an attraction between him and his female self.
I think that there is definitely. Like when the shots, right? Were very, you know what? I'm not. You can't see it, Podlavians, but you know when she's like this against his neck.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but the shot of it, the way they filmed it, it wasn't from her. Like you could choose to put the camera anywhere, right? The angle of the camera was very like a first kiss. The sunset behind, it wasn't a sunset, but the sky behind them. They were kind of silhouetted. So it was a romantic shot.
I agree. So the question is, what is the MCU going to do with that?
Is Loki going to,
have a relationship with himself?
Yeah.
Well,
I think he will.
I
think he's going to have a masturbatory session with another
I know that
Loki.
it is ultimately just masturbatory because they are the same person.
But also they're not the same person. It
feels a little incestuous though because
they're from the same parents.
They are from the same parents and they have diverged into two people. They're not one
they're not
person
the same
anymore.
Person.
Like twins don't have sexual relationships with each other.
Yeah, but they're not twins. They're the same
no, but
person.
Twins share the same DNA and the same...
I agree. I'm not saying I think it's healthy or a good thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is the MCU going to do it? Because
I think they are.
If it was a slightly more non-kid friendly world, I could see it.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the MCU. It just seems a bit...
I agree. The MCU is a more cartoon style conflict.
Yeah. And so the other thing is, if she's not a variant of Loki and she's Sylvie, then that means that he sort of created her. He's kind of her father. Then they shouldn't have a relationship either. What they should have
they are putting them in situations like they keep making moments. I mean, I can't remember the other one. There was another definite moment where it was probably in the restaurant. Like they're looking into each other's eyes. They're talking about their lives. Like it was very much like a date. They are connecting over history and...
They have a possible enemies to lovers thing if they're not the same person.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if they're going to do it because, like you say, we've never seen Loki in a romantic or sexual...
We've never even seen him in a friendship.
Well, Thor is...
Yeah, but he's saying he betrays... I like when you get the moments of Thor, like, oh, we're not doing that thing, like the... Yeah. The help me or whatever.
Get help.
Get help. Yeah. Oh no, you think they do get help? Like they've got a definite a chemistry and it's very brotherly and it's very funny, but it's not really a friendship because neither of them trust each other. They betray each other. Well, Thor doesn't betray Loki, but Loki betrays Thor regularly until the very end. Really.
Well, no, he's trying to get the drop on Thanos.
Yeah, but I mean until the end. He stopped, right. Until the end.
Your savior is here.
Yeah. Like Loki doesn't have a good relationship with Thor.
No, he clearly doesn't.
Yeah.
That's depicted. No.
So you don't really he's developing a good friendship relationship with Mobius.
Yes.
It's not there, but it's...
But he's betrayed Mobius too.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like he's developing. He's starting to
Well, okay, so the question about whether he is going to have a romantic or sexual relationship with himself from a different timeline, I just don't think he should in the MCU. And maybe that's sort of a closed-minded way of looking at things from me. I don't know. Maybe people who are listening are like, look, if you've ever masturbated, you've got no right to say that.
Yeah, John,
and
have you ever masturbated?
I'm not going to disclose that on a podcast about the MCU.
I did have another drink, so...
What do you mean?
I was like, I would ask you if you've masturbated when I've had another drink.
Well, as I say, I'm not going to answer
I know.
on a podcast about the MCU. I mean, you don't need to answer that question. Everybody has, but...
Oh, really? Is it so?
Everybody except me, or have I? I'm not going to disclose, as I said.
Oh my god, this is so dodgy.
But if I met another me from a universe that isn't mine, and it was a woman but she was me, I don't know...
If she'd been raised in
the same way
your
I
mum,
was,
stepdad, dad...
And it's possibly me from the future as well. It's like, no.
What if he fancied you?
Well, I'd be a bit concerned. Wouldn't I?
Yeah. To be fair, I also don't think that he should be having sex with female himself.
So this isn't just me being a Puritan over here.
I mean, maybe I'm a Puritan too, but I agree for all the same reasons. If they are both Loki, and she is a variant of him, but she's not him, but they have the same parents, they have the same DNA connection, I don't think we should be having sex with people raised by our parents.
No, I think that's a good rule.
I think that is... Or people who have the same parents biologically but have never met them. Like adopted people shouldn't have sex with people raised by other people, but if they're biologically... I mean, basically, you shouldn't be having sex with people who have any familial connection to you.
I could see that. And yet, masturbation's fine. If you do it, podcast person, you go bananas.
Well, I mean, like, cousins get married all the time.
Yeah, we're getting into the weeds, aren't we?
We're getting into the weeds. I feel like I'm being incredibly insensitive to all the podcasters we know who are married, like listeners who are married to their cousins.
Oh,
and I'm like, sorry, I'm saying like no familial sex connection, and they're like, well, I shag my cousin every day.
Right. I suppose we all draw the line somewhere in terms of the immediacy of our and for me, same species, no problem.
I would hope not just no problem. I'm hoping you're aiming same species.
Well, no, but I'm saying the.
Oh, in your characters.
Like we all come from the same sort of place.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So at some point, you know what I mean? Like at some point.
So would you have sex with an alien?
What an interesting question.
Because if you think about the TV shows and movies you've watched, aliens can look very human.
So. Okay.
And they're not the same species.
If I were Peter Quill...
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I was literally thinking of Peter Quill and the Green Girl.
The Ostravarian or whatever. Right. Yeah, probably. Because...
No, she's blue, isn't she? I'm not thinking of
Well, I mean, Peter Quill and Gamora, they fancy
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of Gamora.
100%
I was thinking of the blue chick in the spaceship when he flies away, and she's like...
Yeah. Baru?
Possibly.
Something like that. That might be...
but also
Luke
Gamora.
Skywalker's
also
aunt.
Gamora. Like... Gamora is a very attractive green woman.
Yes.
Alien lady. I think you would have sex with Gamora.
It would be weird, but then so would be being in space and having to get used to the fact that I'm not on Earth anymore. And ultimately, yeah, probably, eventually, because you, again, it depends how similar the species is, because if the species is very similar, you can communicate intellectually and emotionally, then...
You wouldn't necessarily want to be having sex with somebody whose available zone was, say, tentacly. If there was like a tentacle nest where you're supposed to put
a tentacle nest.
Yeah. If the available zone for the lovemaking in that species, right,
I think
was a tentacle nest.
I think it's fine and not prejudiced at all to say that I'm not attracted to that.
To tentacle nests.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
As long as, you're sensitive about it, it'd be hurtful. And
Oh, I mean, your tentacle nest is lovely. I just don't want to put my thing in it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, because that sounds not sensitive and potentially quite hurtful. I'd probably make up a girlfriend on another planet who I don't want to be unfaithful to.
I love it when we have wine and podcast. We haven't done that for a while.
Yeah. So ultimately, it's okay to masturbate. That's the point. I think that's how we got here.
If you Podlovians like to either have sex with your cousin or somebody with a tentacle nest, we aren't here to judge. We just don't want to do it ourselves.
Right. Again, humans are all somewhat related, right? They are.
Oh, yeah.
Because Genghis Khan is everybody's great-great-great-great-great-grandfather because he just well, I'm not going to legitimize what he did, but he spreaded his seed.
He sperminated a lot of women.
And so apparently everybody's got a little bit of Genghis Khan in them now. So yeah, there you go. That is
That's some thoughts.
Human history for the insane and deranged. We're all related to Genghis Khan.
So, right, like zooming us back
is it wrong for Loki and Sylvie?
No, I was going to go. We've done the plot.
Mm.
What did you like?
Okay, so I liked Another Smash.
Yeah.
I liked his song. She comes home, we bring her home. She sings, we come home. I don't know. Something about she does something and we go home. I liked that. I like Loki getting drunk.
Yeah.
And sort of ruining the plan by getting drunk. I can relate.
I enjoyed seeing Loki having fun. I'm not sure we've literally ever seen Loki have fun before.
So the only non-heterosexual character in the MCU to date is a man in a meeting with Captain America at the beginning of Endgame, talking about a date that he went on because his partner from before was blipped, and this is the next time.
Okay, so I have a question. So at this point, Sylvie and Loki are both bisexual.
I would say if you were fussily looking for confirmation, we've had it from Loki, not Sylvie.
Yeah,
he assumes that she is, but she doesn't answer either way.
No, you're right. Okay, so we are confirmed one gay man whose partner was blipped.
Yes, who was played by one of the Russos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Loki.
Loki, who I feel like this is the first time his sexuality has even vaguely been addressed.
Well, yes, that is true.
So this is probably going to be big news on the. We've literally not been on the Twitters.
No,
so
it will 100% be.
Yeah, I've not seen.
There'll be bisexual flags on Twitter, I guarantee. Well, let's have a look now.
Yeah, all right.
Guarantee you'll find.
Because I feel like this is a big deal that a bisexual character is. And
not just a character who nobody's seen and we're never going to see again, but a character who exists and has existed all this time.
Okay, so
Loki. I'm searching Loki.
Yes, here. From the moment I joined Loki Official, it was very important to me and my goal to acknowledge Loki was bisexual. It is part of who he is and who I am too. I know this is a small step, but I'm happy and my heart is full to say this now. Canon MCU Loki.
I mean, even the bisexual flag is the same colours as this episode.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, look at that.
So yeah, 100% bisexual people will be thrilled if they're also Marvel fans.
Oh yeah, look, there's a little Loki holding the
blue, pink, and purple. Yeah, like a darker blue.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Like
that's really
his little suit is blue. The sky is pink.
Look at all these happy bisexuals.
There you go.
That's nice, isn't it? Like it's nice that he is. Like as I say, it's nice that they've done something that
I agree.
That is important,
and also
representation matters.
Bisexual people are well underrepresented. If you're just talking about like anything other than straight people, there are a lot more explicitly homosexual people on TV. Not in the MCU now. There's one of each, and the main one is Loki. So
well, I think that's really good. Anyway, good for MCU doing an actual out and out bisexual character.
Yeah. So why did we bring that up? Things we like?
Yeah, things we like.
I like that the point has been made.
And in a very cool way. It wasn't like a big deal.
Yeah, well, it was in a way that it would come up talking to yourself if you were okay with the fact that you were bisexual.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't like a lightning and whistles. I am a bisexual. It was just...
Right, which is cool if you're a teenager. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It wasn't Because
But he's
that's
not a
always
teenager, like-
no, but it's always the danger that it's going to be made like a massive deal that this is a thing about this person, and it doesn't have to be. I like that it was just
Also,
this is who I am, and it's
yeah,
fine.
the character's sexuality is probably not been a massive part of his motivation up until now, because he thinks of love as a dagger that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
So it's a weapon that you use that, you know, it's sharp, you see yourself in it, and then
it's beautiful, but it's not
beautiful,
real.
but then it's not real. When you reach for it, it's not real. It's quite
Yeah.
a sad tragedy
It is.
to his idea of what love is.
Well, maybe he will fall in love with himself.
when he sees himself in...
Because, you know, they talk
His
about how
dagger.
arrogant and vain and stuff that he is. Maybe the only person he could ever
Ah,
actually fall in
well.
love with is him.
I've got the Twitter take for you then. So what the MCU is saying is that bisexual people are narcissistic who just want to have sex with themselves.
Oh, don't ruin it.
I'm not actually ruining it. I'm doing a parody
You're right.
of how it will be like misinterpreted by people who want to be offended by it.
May I just say, you're right. The Twitters will do that.
No, mostly they won't, because the MCU is just a popular thing. It's not a fountain of controversy and outrage, particularly. If it was a different storytelling world, maybe.
You're right. They'll ruin it. The people who are perpetually offended.
So you're saying that all bisexual people are attracted to themselves?
Yeah, that is a... Oh my god, can't we just be like... And I'm not having a go at you.
No, you are, though, because no one else has said that at all.
We don't know this.
I'm just being...
but
I'm being a mischief maker myself.
No, but you know that you're right. You know, like... Isn't it just good?
The thing is, it won't be now. It will be in 20 years' time if this is really popular. That's when it'll be backdated as problematic from the start.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, it's going to be fine.
Okay. All right, I'll take it for fine for now. I'll take it. In 20 years, I won't give a shit anymore. I'll just be like, you young weirdos, get over yourselves.
Get over yourselves. And also, you're fine. It's going to be fine. That's our message to the young, isn't it? Get over yourselves. It's also, you're fine. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, I think so. Also, don't be a dickhead.
Don't be a dickhead is always good, no matter what age you are.
I agree.
Because there's dickheads at age 4, and I know this from experience. And there's dick age. There's dick age.
The dick age begins at birth.
There's dickheads at age into the 60s and 70s, and I know that from experience too.
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
all the years in between.
Yeah.
But nobody has to be a dickhead, and let's not then. And I will stop. And
what didn't you like?
I didn't like how the episode drained the narrative momentum that had been building throughout the series
the only thing.
thus far.
I was just a bit booted out.
And if the episode had given me more answers as to the nature of Sylvie, I'd have been happier. But it didn't give me... It posed questions about Sylvie. You know, we're still doing this thing where we're like, are you Loki or not? Because the episode, not just this episode, the whole series so far kind of says, yes, it's Loki. And also, no, it's not.
Yeah.
And I want an answer because I'm not able to kind of settle now. I'm like waiting. That's fine as long as there's something I can settle on. But the series arc from last week and the week before has also been thrown out, so I can't settle on that either.
I agree.
I got nothing other than how much I like Loki, and he's still the same guy who murders people. You know, not that long ago.
No, I agree. But I've always liked Loki. I mean, I think that he is like, if you want a real good definition of a likable monster,
yeah,
Loki's it, because he's a monster. He murders. He's brutal. He's terrible, but he's also incredibly likable and vulnerable, and I really like him. So, right, thoughts and theories.
Wow, you're racing us through, aren't you? You're hungry, aren't you?
I am.
Okay. Thoughts and theories, I don't know. Like,
as soon as I start getting motivated to end a thing, you know it's because I need to eat.
Well, yeah. So, I don't know. Who is Sylvie? I mean, it's kind of... She was born Little Frost Giant on Jotunheim, and then was raised by Odin and Frigga, brother of Thor and now sister of Thor. It's either that person...
Is there a timeline Thor then that has a Loki sister?
No, because again, it would be originally that little boy who's now a girl, and it's fine. If it's not, if she was created out of thin air by a Loki from a different blah blah blah, and given the powers of an Asgardian, or whether she was born somewhere in New Asgard on Earth and was just a regular kid. And that's what I felt like it was hinting at with the scene right at the start. It felt like this was both of them until she was like, where are the timekeepers and how do I find the timekeepers? And then I was like, oh, no, she's... Because I didn't recognise the same woman.
So what do you think her reason is for being driven to do this?
I don't know, because it depends who she is.
Because it has to have a reason. She can't be doing this for no reason. It's not, you can't have
a
motivation that comes from nowhere. Just I want to do this. She has to have been screwed over by the sacred timeline.
If I were Loki, the Loki we know, the Loki from Avengers who gets zapped into the TVA, I would totally want to do what Sylvie's doing. Because that's what Loki always wants to do, is find out where the biggest power is and then steal it and possess it.
Yeah.
And if you kill the timekeepers and all their underlings, then you possess the power that they had, because she's got a shitload of these little tempads. You could have your own TVA. You could be your own people and you go around, you can kill baby Thanos if you want, you can do whatever you like. You could go to Thor, like when he's vulnerable, and be like, haha, now I'm the big one, big guy. And possess the power of Thor, and just do whatever you want. Like that, if she's Loki, our Loki, then yeah, it makes sense. If she's not, who knows? And like ultimately, I don't know. One of the things I would say about the Disney Plus Marvel TV shows is this is the phase wherein that they are amazing.
Yeah.
And then in the last episodes, they tend to be a little bit deflating.
I didn't find the end of WandaVision deflating.
I did a bit, like, the more I thought about it afterwards. Like, it was so good. And then it ends with a big sky battle, and, you know, whoever casts the runes controls the thing. And it's just an MCU ending. Like, there was no...
I take your point.
And, like, the Falcon and the Soldier, it was, again, really... exciting, and I'm not being ungrateful for this excellent storytelling, because I'm genuinely not. I feel like the endings are a little bit MCU, and I want to see, because the TV shows aren't. Like, WandaVision isn't MCU at all. Like, it's a sitcom about a pair of people trying to... Do you know what I mean?
Where do you think this episode's going to go, then? Because they've ended it where their last hope of getting off the planet has been blown up, right? They are in one of these apocalypses. Right. Everyone is going to get killed. That is over.
Basically.
Is Mobius going to show up and save them?
Well, this is what I was wondering when we were watching it. The thing I always don't want to happen, Podlabians, is I don't want the characters that I'm following to get out of the predicament they're in because somebody comes and helps them. Because that doesn't... That you could write, like, that's not good writing to me, because
you want them to get out of it themselves.
You want them to get out of it themselves. You want one of their plans to pay off. Like, if one of, like, otherwise, why are we watching them try and get on a train, try and get on an arc? If it's not going to work, and then Thor's going to show up and be like, brother, come with me on the Rainbow Road, and then, like, I
agree.
I'll take it because I need to get on to the next phase, but I don't want to see characters just getting out of scripts by fortune.
I don't feel like this episode was actually about the action.
No, but it should be. It should be about both.
Yes, but I don't think it was. I just don't. I think
I can't put my own storyteller head.
No, I'm just saying, I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying. I just don't think that's what they were doing. I think that Mobius and the judge are going to show up. They're going to arrest them, put them in separate cells, and the next episode is going to be them trying to...
Yeah, because it doesn't feel like there are any breadcrumbs of self-salvation. Like,
exactly, that's what I think is going to happen.
Don't get me wrong, I'm happy with them ending up in a cell in the TVA if they get out of this situation themselves.
Yeah, but I don't think
I would write it. If I'd get to this point, I'd go back and then sprinkle in some breadcrumbs to how they figure out how to escape, much like Loki figured out where the variant was hiding last week. That was brilliant. Yeah. That was what I like in a story, not just what I like in a story. That's me being
Unless it reestablishes the TVA as the ultimate power, because they think they can be strong and they think they can do it themselves, the Lokis, but...
Yeah, but this is a whole episode. It doesn't... Again, if you want to do that, you have that being something that is leveraged at the start of this episode and then closed at the end, because then it's satisfactory. It's
it ended on a cliffhanger. It ended
you can't spend for me, you can't, if I'm writing it, you can't spend an episode rooting for people to get off a planet that's going to explode or a moon that's going to explode, only for them to be rescued at the last minute by somebody else. There's a Deus Ex Machina thing.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I might be wrong, and Podlovians, like, next week when you watch this, be like, haha, JJ's wrong. I think...
Oh yeah, if they get off the planet and there's some breadcrumbs that I haven't spotted.
No, I don't. I think they are going to get off by Mobius saving them.
Yeah, see, that to me is disappointing because...
But that's what I think's going to happen.
If that's going to happen, I want to see Mobius making that plan in this episode in just two moments throughout the episode.
Next episode will be Mobius's plan, and then the episode, like you mean, like next episode could be Mobius and the judge and all those people doing what they are doing and coming up with their plan, and then, you know what I mean? Like, this episode is the Loki side of Loki jumping into that portal.
Yes.
Next episode is the Mobius side of Loki jumping into that portal. And then the episode after that, episode 5, there's only 6 in it.
There's only 6. So the problem with that is that none of that helps now. This is, right, so there's an old TV show, Podlovians, called Batman. Right?
No one's heard of Batman.
Popular in the 1960s, and Batman and Robin would be tied to like these big sort of wheels where they were being rotated around, and the Riddler and Penguin were there cackling away at how are they, and you know the big voice would say, "How will Batman and Robin get out of this one? Tune in next week to find out." Right? And so you'd tune in, not me, because I was not born in the 1960s. I was born in 1983. Podlovian bastards. I'm not that old. Sorry about that, Podlovians. The point
drink
is,
more wine, darling.
Drink more wine, it'll be fine. So the point is, I would tune in like a moment later because it was on like a constant episode after episode on TV, and it would basically be that Batman would remember that he had a gadget in his tool belt that he didn't know he had before, that no one had mentioned before, and so the peril didn't matter. And that's what this feels like to me, is this peril doesn't matter. Loki's not going to die. Sylvie's not going to die. This is how are Loki and Sylvie going to get out of this one?
I agree.
And I don't like that style of peril because it makes me distrust the people who are coming up with the peril in the first place. So
it makes the peril less perilous.
That's the point, yeah. So next week, if they find themselves in peril, I will feel less confident that the writers know how they're getting them out of it, and will basically just come up with a bullshit excuse at the beginning of the next episode, because really the point is that you and me, Podlovians, and you, JJ Barnes, are supposed to be like, ooh, how are Bart and Lisa going to get out of this one, right? And that's not satisfying storytelling to me. So that's how I feel, and that's what I don't like. There's a few things I don't like. There's lots of things that I like very much.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. I really want to understand the timelines thing.
Yes.
That was the majority of my thoughts watching this, was if she is a Loki, and if there's all these other Lokis that have grown up to become a Loki that is becoming a variant, that means that there must be multiple timelines for variant Lokis to appear from, because like otherwise they wouldn't later become variants, which means there are multiple timelines with variants coming off them, which means there must be multiple TVAs, because the TVA screen on this TVA only has the one red wiggle with yellow shoots coming off it.
Let me give you my own personal theory.
All right.
And this isn't just about the MCU or Loki, the TV show.
This is like your time travel theory.
Not just time travel, but my theory of alternate universes, right?
All right.
And alternate versions of the same person. The timeline leading up to the birth of any one person is only what it is, right? Because if I'd been a different sperm, or a month earlier or a month later, I'd be a different person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
you wouldn't have been as lovely.
That's very kind of you.
You're the loveliest version of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But the point is that if there were multiple versions of me, they were me from conception and from birth. Yeah, because who knows what role, the life of the mother whilst... I don't know, right? The point I'm making is, conception or birth or somewhere in the middle, but nowhere before conception or after birth. Lots of places after birth. Because if the time, so what I'm saying is that the Loki, if the Loki aura, right, that they detected on Sylvie, if she's a form of Loki, she must have been born just like Loki was.
So she was conceived, her DNA came into existence at the same time.
Yes, the timeline is the same as our Loki's.
Yep.
at least up until the time they were born. It may have branched off at any point after that.
Yeah.
But it had to be the same until that moment. And that's true of every single other person as well.
I agree. I think
if you're going to have multiple versions of the same character.
I think it has to be from conception, not birth. And the
Right.
reason is because the mother could have moved anywhere in the world whilst pregnant and given birth to her frost giant.
Right.
In
could have been born
any area of her world, any other world, any place. She could have time travelled herself and given birth. It has to be from conception because the mother is then going to impact where that child is born, and where your child is born impacts their growth and development.
In the 9 months or however long a Loki baby is gestating for, that mother could like you say, go to the other side of the planet, the other side of the universe in the MCU.
She could drink
and that would
incredibly
be a wildly
heavily
different person.
and cause the
differences in development.
Developmental differences. She could, they talk about the impact of various things that the mother does on the development of the fetus. All it takes is for one mother who's pregnant with an identical baby to do a slightly different thing. That baby will come out different. So it has to be from the moment sperm meets egg.
The sex, basically, is the
DNA. Just the DNA of that baby.
Yeah, that to me is
that
what...
dog is so loud.
That to me is what Loki has to be. And all the variants must have started in the same place. If they didn't, they're not Loki. Yeah. To me.
Yeah, I agree. From conception, the moment the sperm meets the egg, that is the same person. And then the timelines diverge and create new variants based on it.
So here's a thought then, though, because this is quite interesting. In Jurassic Park, the Dr. Wu, with the pencil, he's like, could change. He says that the embryos require a chromosome or a gene or something that makes them develop the sex characteristic, or that changes them from female to male, right?
Yeah.
We all start out female and we switch to male, and we simply deny them that, right?
Yeah.
That's his point. So the change could be there. So this could be...
Yeah, but there's too many different male Lokis.
And it's no female Lokis.
Well, there's one female Loki if she is a Loki.
Yeah.
But
also she says, don't call me that anymore. I feel like he was born a little boy.
But I mean, my point is, I don't think it comes at the point where that fetus becomes male or female. I think it has to come at...
Yeah. I'm not saying that it does. I'm saying that if it comes at the point of conception and the point of becoming male or female comes after, then that could be the difference.
Yeah.
And so she could have been born a little blue girl instead of a little blue boy. And had exactly
the same upbringing, adopted by Odin at the same age.
But the reason I don't think that's the case is because she takes too much ownership of his history. Like, don't call me that. She says in episode 2, like, don't call me that. Yeah. And in this one, she said, I don't go by that name anymore. Or, I don't like that name anymore. So I don't think that, I don't know, is Loki even a boy's name? I don't know. It's enough of a boy's name that when you're Loki, you're a man, and when you're Lady Loki, you're a woman.
Yeah.
Right? But ultimately, is it a boy's name or a girl's name? Who knows?
It's because it's a noise.
It's a weird space name.
It's a sound. All names are a sound.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Ashley is a boy and a girl name because it's been attributed.
But you get very few male Bethany's and very few female Jeffreys.
Yeah. But that's only because tradition. The sound has been applied to one sex more than the other.
It's been backfilled into those noises.
Yeah. Jeffrey would be a great girl's name.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing? And she's like, I'm good, thanks. How are you? And I'm like, fine. There's a bit of drama for you. Me and Jeff having a chat.
Your acting is just splendid.
I do a good acting.
So, do you have anything else you want to cover before we sign off and I go eat food?
I don't think so. I mean, we could talk forever.
Yeah.
I want to know if... I don't think we're going to find out. I think this is going to piss me off because I don't think it's going to specify whether she was the same little blue boy or not. And we're just going to have to kind of not know.
It might. Because
I know, but...
the whole series is about...
WandaVision made me think it was going to explain things it didn't. Like, what was all the fucking ritual about for the children?
Yeah.
It was nothing. It was just weird for the sake of it, and it was a bit lost.
Well, because the children were hidden away.
Well, no, they weren't. They weren't hidden away.
They were. They were kept in their rooms.
No, but
But it wasn't a thing where they were all for the
They
children.
weren't helped by the fundraiser in the...
No, you're right.
It felt like it was to get Tommy and Billy born
Yeah.
like it was some kind of witchy ritual.
But it was never. Yeah.
But it
you're
wasn't.
right.
It was just a nothing. And so now with the Disney MCU shows, I'm a little bit less confident that they're going to explain things, and I'm a bit more like when I started to realize Lost wasn't explaining things, and I start to lose faith. Like, that's where I am.
I will not hear disparaging words about Lost.
But you can't expect everything to be answered, or you're going to be super disappointed.
So thank you very much for listening to our Loki podcast and a bit of our personal lives.
If I didn't edit it out, though.
Oh, yeah. If you edit it out, you've just missed like the most juicy,
Oh my goodness,
graphic, interesting details about our top secret personal.
Will it ever come to light?
Will it
Will it pay off?
We talked about what we're going to watch on TV tonight. Anyway,
If I didn't edit that
if you didn't edit that out. Thank you very much for listening. If you go to sirenstories.co.uk, you'll find links to all the podcasts we've done. There's also all our social media. So you can find us, chat to us, tell us what you think. Tell us your thoughts on Lady Loki, what you think about bisexual Loki, where you think this is going to go, what's Mobius doing.
Maybe somebody would like to write about Loki on the table read.
Oh my gosh, this is such a great suggestion. If you are watching Loki and you love it and you're a writer and you have insight, check out thetableread.co.uk, because that is an online magazine that I am the editor of, and I am always looking for new creative voices with passion for story and to share your work and all your links to your websites and your books and all of your stuff. So come, find it, thetableread.co.uk. It's a really good suggestion. A good Loki piece would fit right in. Yeah, so thank you very much, and we will be back again soon.
All right, thank you for sticking with us.
Bye.
Bye.